Hello everyone, this is Top. Today we're going to look at a fun thief build that uses a sword pistol in one set and sword dagger in the other. We're going to try this video a little differently from the other build guides that I've put out so far. The video is going to cover the basics of playing with these weapons and utilities, and then I'll also have another video that skips the basics and gets right into the complex gameplay. So go ahead and click the annotation or link in the description to check out that video if you already have a good handle on sword-based thieves. So let's get started. So you can see that I'm starting out in a fight against the Guardian. I've been using my trap to try to control him while steadily applying my damage, and I do manage to burst him pretty low by using my pistol whip when he's close by, but he recovers his health by using his healing skill along with the stand your ground shout, which gives him stability. He then blows his elite to get all his virtues back. So I know that he's pretty much out of tricks when he uses all those virtues up, and I try to line of sight him back towards the hinge. Now my build gives me the ability to dodge an incredible number of times. Note that I have this boon called Vigor. I have a major trait which gives it to me whenever I use my heal, which is on a pretty low cooldown. I also have another trait which returns me some of my endurance after the dodge. While I'm fighting a sword guardian, I have two main abilities that I'm worried about taking damage from. One is Zealot's Defense, an ability which can do quite a lot of damage if I let these blades hit me. This ability also blocks projectiles, so I can't use my headshot to interrupt it, so I'm trying to save some dodges for that as I do here. The second thing that I'm worried about eating is the third hit of his chain. Since I'm trying to stab him, I'm going to have to be in close range and take some hits, but if I can, I want to dodge or interrupt his chain attack before the third swing, which hits 3 times for higher damage. Now, I try to set down a tripwire to knock him down, but either he notices it, or by luck he happens to give himself Aegis to block it right before he walks onto it. Now at this point he's almost out of cooldown, so I try to set another trap but end up eating some damage. And I stand on this side of the trap to try to lure him, but he teleports over it, so I dodge away to lure him over it again, and which does poison him. Now at this point he's getting low, so I go ahead and I use a pistol whip while he's crippled to try and break him down with some burst damage. Now, this Guardian is obviously pretty defensively built, so it's hard for me to wear him down, but he's doing okay damage to me. I could be avoiding even more damage myself by using the sword and dagger, but since I kept my pistol out, I'm able to interrupt this next heal. Now, I do eat some more damage, but I'm able to use my Scorpion Wire utility skill to pull him to the ground next to me, and then I try to finish him off. He does try to make a run for it, and his dodges are healing him, but I'm able to headshot him to try to preemptively daze any move that he can do, and I go in for the kill. Now one thing that you should note while you're trying to play a thief is that you should be careful not to spam your abilities. Since they don't have any cooldown, the game will put them into a queue and use up all your initiative by just chain shooting like I did here by accident. Let's look at a group fight. Here I see that my team is slightly outnumbered in a big melee after Svanir went down. I jump in with the goal of being sort of a disruptor. I want to get the enemy's attention since I can avoid damage so well and keep them from hurting my squishier allies. I steal from this warrior and ended up with the axe item, which lets me whirl around for great AoE damage. Afterward I yank him over to me to try and get him on me, but he's still after my allied Mesmer that's getting low. I go ahead and I drop a needle trap right under the warrior, which successfully immobilizes him. And that apparently gets his attention, but I also got the aggro of this glass cannon elementalist over here, so I go ahead and I go into evasive action, dodging about while using dancing daggers to cripple them both. My heal is great for kiting because it gets me out of any sort of movement impairing condition while also rolling me backwards. You'll see me turn my camera around quickly so I can roll backwards and control whichever way I want to go. I keep dodging away and my tripwire manages to knock down the elementalist, but something immobilizes me. So I go ahead and I start up the long windup for my cloak and dagger move, and it's timed so that it lands right when the warrior gets to me, which allows me to escape, and apparently it confuses these two since they leave me alone for the keep and abandon this engineer for me and my remaining ally to kill. Now if you've been paying attention, you've probably noticed that I'm not using very much initiative in either this fight or the one with the Guardian earlier. Now it's not that I'm just bad at using it, I'm trying to keep it as high as possible due to the trait lead attacks. Now the sword does quite a lot of damage with just its free chain attacks, so my plan has been to maximize my initiative by using it only for utility like mobility or interrupts or when I really need to burst. Now this lets me do pretty significant damage when I do decide to burst because of the damage increase, even though I'm using a defensive gear set. Here we can see some of my grouped utility. I jump into this fight and down one of the two opponents that's trying to stomp my ally. I also drop a tripwire to knock down the other one and start to stomp when I realize it's a ranger and he'll just daze me with his down state ability anyway, so I go ahead and I just roll out of the lava. Now, at this point, the enemy's ahead of me in stomping, and if he manages to stomp my ally, the ranger will just get back up because of the rally. So I use my Scorpion Wire to interrupt the stomp, and since my ally is bleeding, I don't want him to die, so I run over and I heal him just a little bit before I go ahead and go for the stomp to actually rally my ally. Now, utilities like these traps give me a lot more control over my opponents on short cooldowns, which allows me to do moves like these to save my allies. Now, I could have interrupted the stomp maybe with a headshot, but then he'd still be right there next to my ally, and the daze is a lot shorter. It's only a quarter second and compared to the pull from the wire. Now, here's a textbook example of what you can do with traps. I'm heading to the waterfall, which was just capped by an elementalist, and I run past him, and he chases after me, so I go ahead and I drop my traps behind me to slow him down. As I get to the waterfall, the 2 traps and the cripple from my dagger buy me more than enough time to neutralize the node. It's unfortunate for him that he didn't dodge through the trap, he dodged right up to the trap and then walked into them. So that's too bad for him, because dodging through a trap just wastes the trap since it uses it up to no effect. At this point he just plays poorly and it's a pretty easy kill for me. So as you've seen, the build has a lot of potential as a sort of skirmisher. If you want to play your thief up close and personal without worrying about taking too much damage, then consider using a sword with a build like this. I can still put up decent numbers despite being a bit tankier than most, and I love the feeling of control this build has. Thanks as always for watching the video. Make sure you check out the companion video for this, which will go into more depth about some of the neat tricks this build can pull off, as well as some information about some of its weaknesses. Also, check out my other Guild Wars 2 content, and subscribe if you like it. Let me know what you think about splitting up the videos like this. I figure I can give people more focused content that helps them depending on whatever level that they're playing at, so hopefully this works well. Okay, see you guys soon.